Hi, I'm Shira Carpel.
And I'm Shayna Gaunt, and we're board-certified behavior analysts. At How to ABA, we provide practical resources, community, and support to ABA professionals. In each episode of our podcast, we will be having real conversations with real people, sharing real stories about ABA.
We'll share relevant strategies and actionable tips that will make us all better ABA practitioners. It's the ABA content you need that you're not going to learn in a textbook. Hi, everyone. On today's podcast, we are very excited to be hosting one of our members, Kailani Bartley, who is a case manager at CABS, which is the Chicago Autism and Behavior Specialist. So welcome.
Welcome, Kailani.
I'm excited to be here, guys.
We are excited to have you. As I was saying before, one of the things we love about doing the podcast is to get to talk to, regular people who are practicing in the field and learn more about how they got here, kind of what their challenges are, what they love about it. So why don't we start with telling us a little bit about how you got into this field?
Yeah, so it was pretty much on accident. I wanted to be a music therapist, and then I was just looking for summer jobs in college to work with people diagnosed with autism. I found a tech job. I worked there for about a year. And then when I graduated, I was like, well, I really like working in ABA, and I switched my whole career path, and I just graduated with my master's.
Congratulations.
Wow, congratulations. So your goals are BCBA.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you. I'm hoping to test in August. That's the goal.
That's awesome.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about what you do now.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a case manager. And so basically, I do all of the things a BCBA would do, except under the supervision of a BCBA. So I have to make sure things get approved through my supervisor to make sure everything's like ethical and effective, and just to like keep things on top of it. But it's essentially the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like in the heart of this like supervision pre-BCBA world. And I know we get a lot of questions about supervision. I know in the field, it's become a bit of a challenge to really find good quality supervision. People are really scrambling. What do you feel like has been, one of the challenges that you've had to overcome with getting quality supervision, or do you feel like you've gotten quality supervision?
So this is actually the third company I've worked for. I've kind of been hopping around so that I could get the highest quality supervision as possible. And one night I emailed Steve Ward, who wrote the inventory of the good learner repertoires with Terry Grimes.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I emailed him and I was like, I have no idea what to do. Like, the company I'm working for right now is all right. But they mainly use DTT, and I'm looking to like expand. And I like had known about the Igler from previous supervisory experiences that I had just moved. I couldn't work there anymore because I didn't live there. And he's like, oh, well, I have some great associates at CABS. And I was like, awesome. So I applied, and now I'm working there, and it's been really fantastic to really get such a broad spectrum of different ideas, different ways to approach learning and behavior. So,
wow, good for you. So would you recommend other people who are looking for supervision to kind of do the same thing, like reach out, advocate?
Absolutely. That's what worked for me. And a lot of people, like, I was surprised so many people replied to me. I got on LinkedIn and I messaged people who like specialized in OBM. I messaged people who specialized in precision teaching, and I just talked to them and I was like, hey, what are some resources? I'm looking for supervision. Is there any like suggestions that you have? So even if you don't end up getting supervision with them, it's a really great resource, and it's just a connection to have, because who knows what knowledge you might need later,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good for you for taking that initiative too. I remember, when I was younger, I was so nervous to, press that send button. I would go as far as to compose an email. Okay, do I press the send button? Do I press the send button? Do I press the send button? And obviously I did. That's what got me to where I am now. But, we were talking yesterday, I did a webinar yesterday, and we were talking a little bit about individualization and how every single person everyone's just an individual, right? It's just we're all people, we're all approachable or hopefully approachable. And, not to be nervous of, people who like Stephen Ward, oh my gosh, he's like a bigwig. Wow. Press that send button. So any of you guys who are listening, just do it. Just do it.
And the other thing I always say about supervision is it is what you make of it. Like so many people come into supervision feeling like, what are you going to do for me? You're the BCBA, you're the supervisor, now train me. And I'm going to sit back and just kind of absorb it. But what I say to everyone who either I supervise or comes to ask about supervision is it is what you make of it. You need to go out and you need to find those resources. You need to advocate. Even if you have an amazing supervisor, unfortunately, it's not always on our head. We have other things going on to remember to tell you to look into this study or to look into this article. And you have to look for those resources and ask for them, and also ask, how can I help you? As a supervisee, you have to put yourself in a position to say, I want to learn. So what can I do to help you? It's not just a one-way street. And I think that that's something that the new supervisees coming into the field should really pay attention to, because it will be so much more successful.
Absolutely. And a great supervisor will be thrilled that you want to help, and also be thrilled that you have your own ideas. And because one thing I really like about my supervision, it's very bidirectional. I have my ideas and they're respected, and she has her ideas and they're respected. And we come together and we're really there to look out for our learner and figure out and collaborate to do what's best for our learner. And it's been fantastic.
So what have you learned the most about in supervision? What was your most valuable lesson?
Yeah, so there's been so much. I think that I learned a lot about DTT. I've tons of training in DTT. But the most important thing is about generalization, and what stifles it and then what advances it. And it's been very interesting. And I found that one of the best ways is playing games and that helps with generalization so much. I take old programs that I wrote for DTT style, and I turn it into a scavenger hunt, or I turn it into a board game. A lot of my motor, listener responding, we can do that all in a game, and the kids love it. And the kids can direct it. They can be in charge, and they love being in charge. They love being okay, Simon says, put up your arms. And then I put up my arms. Or they say, Simon says, touch your nose. And then I touch my ears, and they're like, wait a second. And it's a blast for them. They enjoy it.
That's wonderful. I used to work with a speech pathologist, and I've learned so many things from speech pathologists over the years. And one of the speech pathologists in particular said, I love going into a toy store. And she goes, I pull board games off the shelf and I open them up and I play with them right there in the aisle. And I just start laughing, and it says right on the box, you don't need to purchase to play with it. What? Anyways, she'll go and she'll think of games. And she says, the very first thing I do is throw away the instructions. And then I start thinking about all of the things that I can do with these games. And I thought that was such great advice.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we could do better as a field is definitely the creativity. I think we get so stuck to we have to be technological and we have to be systematic and all of those things that are required, but we can also be really creative and fun. And I feel
we can be fun. Really?
I'm not sure. It's not one of the dimensions, but it should be. But yeah, so much more learning happens. And I feel like as a field, we really should move away a little bit from, the table work and the DTT and incorporate more of that natural learning and generalization, because it's so important.
Absolutely. And I think DTT definitely has its place. I use it for kids who I'm prepping to get ready for school. I've got a lot of kiddos who all right, we have to get their, maybe they've got some aggression or some property destruction. We're going to help them find those replacement behaviors. And then we're going to get in there and we're going to prep them from school, because odds are it's not their intelligence holding back, it's their behaviors. And they would benefit greatly from going to school. And so we need to make sure that they can sit independently and work for probably 20-ish minutes, depending on their age.
Absolutely. I use discrete trial a lot. But what I find needs to happen is that balance, right? So I won't use discrete trial with a 14-month-old. It's not natural. It's not, but like you said, that school age kid who either you're getting ready for school or, is in school and needs to sit for a little bit longer. But it has to be that mix. So great, whatever you're learning at the table or on the floor, you can do discrete trial on the floor as well. But whatever you're learning in that discrete trial format, does need to be generalized away from flat flashcards, away from worksheets, because, natural language doesn't happen, or flashcards don't happen in the natural environment, right?
And I think one of the misconceptions is discrete trial doesn't necessarily mean it has to be boring at a table with a binder. It just really means mass trialing. And I think there's such a benefit to mass trialing, but you can mass trial in so many different formats. Like you could sit down and be playing Simon Says, and that's discrete trial. Like you're going trial after trial. So I think we can still be creative and think outside the box as to what that looks like.
Absolutely. And actually, I made up a game recently for one of my clients. She was learning how to discriminate between who and where. And so she would pick 10 toys, and then I would go give them to people, or I would go hide them in places. And then we'd make a list of the toys she loved. It was so cute. She loved it. And then she would say, okay, I want my Peppa Pig toy. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, I gave your Peppa Pig toy to someone. And the goal is for her to either ask who has it or where is it? And so we started off with a bunch of different visuals to help her out. And then we faded those out. And then we were even able to take the game further and be able to teach her how to get people's attention, repair behaviors if she didn't get their attention, and do all of these super fun, creative things. And we were able to do it in this mass trial fashion that really helped her quickly identify and learn exactly what she needs to do to help her gain that reinforcement, to help her, get her toy, talk to her friends, things like that. And it was phenomenal to see her just thrive.
I love that. That reminds me, I did a program very similar to that, except I was working in a child's basement, so we had no one around. So we literally posted pictures of people on the wall. So we had our family members of pictures on the wall, and I would hide little objects behind the pictures and say, someone has it. And she'd go up to a picture and say, Mommy. And then we transferred that to a tea party, because I just thought a tea party with her stuffies was a lot more natural than going up to pictures on the wall.
I love that. Yeah, there are just so many fun games that you can play, Hotter and Colder. That's a really fun game. There's use games.
Yeah.
Underestimate them.
Endless. Yeah, no, I love that creativity. So hopefully you're going to, pass your exam and be successful over the next few months. And then what? What would you like to do in the field? What are your goals?
I have so many. I would love to collaborate with speech pathologists more. I think they have great insight, and OTs. I think that something that our field struggles with is kind of staying in our lane and in our specialty, and really I have plenty of friends that are speech pathologists, and they have amazing input. I say, I have a client who's struggling with articulation. What resources do you have? And, I change. It's not hard to make something behavioral and technological, because everything is behavior.
Right.
And so I go in and I heed their advice, and it helps clients thrive. And so I would love to do that. I'd love to just spread the knowledge that I've gained and help plant little seeds in techs as they grow and learn, and help out our families.
Absolutely. I work with a lot of speech pathologists. Like I said earlier, I work with a few, but I work with a lot who give me a lot of really great ideas. And that's what I love about it. I get the data collection piece in there, and I probably get the mass trialing a little bit more than they do. But I work on teams where a speech pathologist will consult once a month. And then as the behavior team, we take it on a daily basis and run away with it. And, the two of us, the teams working together, what a huge difference it makes. And the speech pathologist will come in a month later and go, wow, this is incredible. And the behavior therapists on our team are amazed, because they're learning all about the speech aspects of it as well, and the language development from, a developmental standpoint, not just the ABLES or the VB map, right? And it's really nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are a lot of great resources out there that aren't in our field. I forget what it's called. Someone, there's a BCBA who collaborated with an SLP and made this amazing assessment that focuses on reading. And it goes so there's phonics, and then below phonics, there's another level of sounds. It's even a smaller level. I think it's called mono. It starts with an M. Don't remember what it's called. Look it up.
I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. And so they dive in, and they're yeah, here's how you can teach all of these things, focusing around these things. And we're using a behavior analytic approach with consultation of an SLP. So it's really like developmentally appropriate and it's right there. And so it's fantastic. I wish I could remember what it's called.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. There's so many great resources that we could benefit from. And like you said, just make them more behavioral, because we can put our twists on any of those things, but we should be more open to taking their input and stuff. We often get a lot of our community, a lot of our members in our audience are kind of the newly minted, BCBA type, similar to you, who hopefully will be one day newly minted. What advice, either that you've received was the best advice you've gotten, or what advice would you give to our audience as they're just kind of embarking on the field?
I got a couple of things. I think one, remembering you're working with kids, and kids need compassion as much as they need consistency. If you're working, everyone needs compassion. So it does not just apply to everyone. Everyone needs compassion. And then from there on out, never stop researching, never stop looking at that data, never stop looking at what's new, what new types of ways to teach this can I take, what different approaches are there? And don't ever settle. Always, that's what science is. We don't settle. We keep finding, we keep looking, to really help our learners to the best of our abilities. And that's kind of what's helped me find success so far. I don't settle. That's why I've worked at so many different companies. That's why I own a ridiculous amount of ABA books, despite my limited time in the field.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I think that when I got into the field, it was very different. And I think I had my ideas of what it meant. Like you said, consistency. I was like, well, parents have to follow through, and we have to be firm. And, I've had my own children, and I've learned that that's not always the case. And I think over time, I've definitely evolved into understanding how much more important it is to be compassionate. Yeah. It's not just about the behavioral principles and the techniques. It's really about the connection. And that's not a behavioral term, but it really is. And you get so much further with the kids if they relate to you. And I see it now. We're working with a student who's doing Hanley's PFA and SBT. And I watched just a little bit of it. And while I was watching for the, the technical parts of it, the MANs and the CABs and were they doing everything properly, the thing that stood out to me was through this process, this child trusted this therapist. Yes. And I was like, this is why it's successful. And I was watching and I was like, that's the part that I think is successful about this. And it wasn't about the, doing it right and the data. And that's really the case. And I think we do so much better with our behavioral principles if we bring along that piece of it.
Absolutely. And remembering where a client may be struggling, I had a client one day forget something, and it was part of her routine, and she forgot it, and there was nothing we could do about it. And she was just in tears about it. And so I was like, girlfriend, you can ask for a hug. Bring it in. Let's have a hug. And so she sat there, and it broke my heart. She was so upset about her water bottle, and I get it. There was nothing anyone could do about it. But literally just through this hug, she was able to be like, okay, these people, they're here for me, and we're going to figure it out. And so then we got her a new water bottle. It wasn't the one she wanted, but we got her one that she could drink from, and she was able to kind of self-regulate a little bit. So
yeah, that's awesome. You mentioned that you kind of hoard, ABA resources and stuff and books that you learn from. What's your favorite?
Oh, honestly, the inventory of the Good Learners repertoire. I'm a little biased since I work.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, just a little biased since I'm on a team with him. But to be fair, I learned about it before I was on a team with him.
Can we just sit back for a second? You're on a team with Stephen Ward.
Yes.
You're on a team with Stephen Ward. That's amazing.
Yes. Oh, it's incredible. That's why I took this position. He's like, I work here too. And I'm like, awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm fangirling. He friended me on Facebook. I was like, oh my goodness, Stephen Ward friended me on Facebook.
Right. But it all started because you pressed send.
Yes.
You went for it.
I did press send. I remember one of my friends was like, Kailani, you're crazy. What are you doing emailing these people? He doesn't even know who you are. And I was like,
what? If they don't want it, what's the worst that can happen? They don't respond? What?
Yeah. And I'm like, he put his email out there publicly, so I'm going to email him. And he's such a great guy. He's so down to earth. He's so compassionate, understanding with our kids. And he's got tons of expertise. Him and Teresa Grimes is his partner. And she like really dives into like reading and that kind of thing. And he's really into like the games and the being goofy. And like, it's such a great like partnership that they've like helped us like to consult with. And he's great. He's awesome.
Yeah. We forget sometimes how small our field is, that like, it seems huge to us that these people are like, you know, the names in the field, but like our field is also so small. So like, you know, we should reach out more.
Yeah, it is crazy. I remember I interviewed at a company once. It was at Precision ABA in Naperville, Illinois. And I was interviewing with the president of Illinois ABA. And I was like, excuse me, like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah. We're all just, you know, regular people at the end of the day.
I guess so, man. Like people are writing books out here and I'm like, oh, so you're a human too? This is strange.
Right? Yeah. Surprise.
So send that email. Always send it.
That's a great lesson. Okay. Well, Kailani, this was so nice. I'm so glad we got to meet. One of the reasons we love doing this is meeting people. And so we're so glad we got to meet you.
Absolutely. I loved it. It was great.
Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you so much. It was great.
And good luck. And hopefully you'll send us a note in August when you pass your exam and let us know that you were successful.
Absolutely. I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Keep in touch.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining today's conversation. Wherever you get your podcast, please go and subscribe, rate and review so others can find out about us too.
For more from How to ABA, including free resources and ABA materials, visit our blog at howtoaba.com. And make sure that you're following us on social media for more practical tips and updates.